Hi, this is Dr. Toby Moma inviting you to watch our show this week, Health and Wellness with Dr. Toby, with Dr. Enaka Yembe. Dr. Enaka Yembe is a multi-gifted, well-traveled doctor. She trained in Lagos, Nigeria for her undergrad in biochemistry, and then she went to the University of Milan in Italy for her medical school. After spending her time in a Catholic high school in Cameroon, she now moved to the United States, and she's been in Monroe, Louisiana, West Monroe since for the last 17 years. She's a part of this community, and she's coming to share her heart with us on how to stay healthy, how to overcome barriers. She's a successful female medical entrepreneur. She's a mother, she's also a daughter, she's a sister, and she's a committed member of a Baptist church in the community. You will want to hear what she has to say. I'm looking forward to seeing you on our show. Don't forget, write to us, keep in touch. Jesus is Lord. This is Dr. Toby Moma, family physician, host of your show Health and Wellness with Dr. Toby. Thank you for tuning in. Don't touch that dial. Dr. Enaka Yembe, you're welcome on the show. Dr.
Thank you,
Enaka
Dr.
is with
Tobe.
me today. She's an informed, energetic, wonderful woman of God who works in the Columbia area at the Winters Clinic, and she wants to share her passion. Dr. Enaka was telling us in the last show how she used to be a size 24, but look at her right now, she's a size 8. And she was telling us how she moved from overweight, obese, morbid obesity to what she currently is. And she said it was just diet and exercise mostly, and willpower, really. And that's phenomenal because we live in a generation where people don't think it's possible to lose weight. I have patients who are in that quagmire. They tell them there's no way, you can never lose weight. This is you're stuck in this, and they can't get surgery for medical reasons, and they see themselves and they just eat themselves till they lose their lives. So your story is an inspiration. I know you have a passion also for breast cancer. Am I correct? Female wellness.
Yes.
How did that come about? Do you have any experiences that motivated you towards that, or was it just you as an individual choosing your passions?
When I started my urgent cares, one of the things that I believe and I still believe in today, I still practice this, is to look at the person as a whole, because we don't want to ignore the wholeness of the person and address just one thing and ignore the rest of it. And one of the biggest preventative services, as you know,
Right.
is cancer screening. I had people who came in, so we had a system even in the urgent care, so we had people who came in even for sinusitis, but when we screened them, we would ask patients, have you had a mammogram or pap smear, colonoscopy, or a PSA if you're a male, just simple questions.
Right.
Some people, they're very diligent on their health, and some people may just not know that they have to have cancer screening at a certain age based on their family history and things like that. So we just raise the awareness of preventive medicine, and it's really very important. Like I said, take care of your body because it's the only place you have to live in. You don't have another body. So that cancer screening is very, very, very important, especially for women. If you're a woman watching this show, we women tend to do a lot of different things when it comes to our own bodies. Women tend to be caregivers of others.
Right.
So of the children, of the dad, of the husband, but not of themselves. So I urge women especially, I'm very passionate about women's health, and men of course, but really more about women. Women, please stay up to date with your screening tests, pap smears.
It wasn't because you had a
mammograms.
personal or family who had an experience.
And not initially. I mean, I do
Okay.
have had family members who have come down with different illnesses, and my
Okay.
dad passed away from prostate cancer. But my passion to the women's wellness started before then. Even I mean, it was just so important that women and men, go through the screening test, because we can prevent certain things. Certain things are preventable. If you're overweight, for example, I was able to cure myself of elevated blood pressure and high cholesterol and elevated blood sugars just with diet and exercise alone. And even if you cannot exercise, because like I said, your weight is more dependent on your diet than on your activity anyway. I mean, if you eat a 1 whole pound cake, you could be on the treadmill for 12 hours and still have not burned it off. It's impossible to burn it off. So,
are you talking to the Mardi Gras guys eating the Mardi Gras cake? Or
don't do it. Don't do
cake?
it. And this is what I say. I mean, I love to eat. Oh, sadly, I have to admit, I love to eat. I really do. I go through this process. I cannot break it.
Okay.
Every single weekend that I'm at home, I go through this process of meal prep.
Oh.
Because I love to eat, I start to think, what am I going to eat? What are we going to eat? So, I live with my children. What are we going to eat as a whole? So we don't really eat cooked meals out there.
Of course.
Very rarely. We eat home-cooked meals.
Right.
So we go through this whole process. What are we going to do for breakfast, lunch? And let's cook it, get it ready, package it. Otherwise, what do we do?
You realize there's a teenage obesity epidemic, right?
Yes. Yes.
There's almost 60% obesity amongst teenagers in America. I mean, you have teenage daughters. How do you think we can help them? Talking to the teenagers in particular.
Yes, I think with the teenagers, it depends on their diet. It depends on their diet also. I mean, I have to confess, I make this food at home. I say it's good, it's healthy. My children tell me it's not real food.
Oh, really?
Why don't we just go to McDonald's and get some real food? So, it's a battle. It is a battle with the obesity in childhood and in adulthood. But we can only take things one day at a time. So as a parent, and you only really have control over yourself. You hope to teach others, but then it's up to that person also to have to become aware. When it comes to our diet, most of us eat unconsciously. And I was that way too. You could ask me what I ate yesterday and I don't remember. You could ask me what I ate this morning and I may not even remember. All because we're eating unconsciously. Right. We're eating even when we're not supposed to be eating. You could be driving, see a fast food and say, hey, I just sort of feel like I need to have some. Do you really feel like you need to have some? Or do you actually need it? Does your body need it at this point? So we have this unconscious eating. And we're not a very active society either.
Right.
So we can only reverse that one step at a time by balancing our meals and eating the correct portions. So let's say it's a birthday today. I'm not saying don't have some birthday cake. I'm saying have a regular piece of birthday cake. That's it. The birthday is over tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow is not the birthday, so we can leave the cake alone. We don't need to eat it every day. So things like that. It's really just a change in our eating habits.
Do you limit Coca-Cola or soda products? Do you limit juices in your home?
Yes.
You put some barriers to them getting those things in your home? Obviously, what they do outside the home, maybe you can't really control. But
right.
So you number one, you don't buy fast food. Number two, you don't encourage soda and juices. Okay.
That's why my children say we don't eat
real food.
Like real people. Like we've got to have water all the time.
Okay.
If you want it to taste like something, you put some lemon in it.
Okay.
But it's better for them.
It is. And you're no more pre-diabetic. I mean, so that's
so you reduce your risk factors.
It's worth
you would spend a whole lot more trying to take care of yourself after a major catastrophic event because of illness
than if you started now eating healthy
and preventing it. Another misconception people have is that eating healthy is expensive.
That's a big no. I mean, I've heard that all the time.
I have proven that wrong.
Really?
Yes. And I just give you just quick math. If I was to eat outside 3 times a day, today and tomorrow, I could easily spend $3 on breakfast, $7 each on lunch and dinner. Okay, so that's about
$17.
let's say give or take $20, and
Right.
that's cheap per day
Mm.
on the meal. And so by the end of the week, I could have spent easily
$100.
$150
Right.
just on eating outside, and that's going really conservative. I'll say $100.
Mm.
Meanwhile, if I go to the grocery store, I could get, which is what I do. I love prepackaged foods. I
Okay.
don't like to spend too much time on the. In fact, I don't have too much time to spend in the kitchen, but I want the food. So I
Okay.
love foods that are already packaged. For
Packed.
example, I don't want to buy a live chicken and process it at home. Like, I don't have that kind of time.
Okay.
I want to get a packet of chicken breast.
Frozen. Okay.
That's fresh.
Okay.
All I need to do with this package is rinse it out, season it, and throw it in
Bake
the
it.
oven.
Okay.
This package is going to be, if it's a very expensive one, it will be $20. If it's very expensive.
Mm.
So this is a $20 package of chicken. I go to the freezer aisle. I'll get a big packet of something frozen, maybe broccoli or mixed vegetables, and that's less than $10. So this together this is about $30. I'd say, okay, maybe I'm going to pair this with some brown rice or some sweet potatoes or something that would cost me about another $10.
Mm.
I am able to eat the same thing. I may not, maybe other people can't do it, but I can eat the same thing
So can
for
I.
several
Yeah.
days. I don't really have any problem so long as I know I've got my proteins, I've got my vegetables, I've got my starches all in there. And I can go to the frozen aisle also and get a package of some fruit that is frozen. Now all I need to do is put some soy milk or yogurt in it and blend that into a smoothie, and that's my breakfast.
Oh wow.
So when I go home, I'm going to season all these things. I'm going to sit it in the oven because I don't have too much time to be cooking and stuff. You know, single mom and laundry and all. So all of that is in the oven getting ready
And
by
you don't do
itself.
a lot of frying, obviously.
No,
Okay.
I don't do any frying at
You don't
all.
do any
No.
frying. What do you think of the air fryer thing?
I think it's a good idea. I
Okay.
want one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think it's a good idea. I don't have one
I don't know
because
what the technology says.
I have an oven, and
Oh,
it just
okay.
seems like everything just goes nicely in the oven. I can get
Seems
some
like
package
that too.
of fish
In the
and in
oven.
the oven. So I could spend about another, say, $50 on getting all these meals together. And trust me, myself and my kids, we do this routinely, and I've been doing this for a long, long time.
And that should last you a week. That $30 you spent.
Or longer.
40 or longer.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So you partition that out into, I've got my meal prep containers, and so we have them all stacked in the fridge because my fridge is all.
Some people say you have to buy from fresh markets, you know. All this frozen stuff is, I mean, I hear those comments.
True, but I don't have the time.
Of course.
I don't. I'm a.
Farmers market and
Unfortunately,
all
I'm a
that.
cheapskate.
No, we're
So
all.
when I go to the store and I see things that are organic and it's gonna be
It's
$6,
affordable. Okay.
the one that's frozen is $3.
We're gonna go
I'll
for the
probably go for the
$3.
cheaper
Yeah.
ones. But
Same
all of
with
that
us.
is really to tell you that you can eat healthy meals that you prepare,
Without
and
breaking
it's
the bank.
not expensive. It's
Wow.
not expensive, and you are in control. And that's really how I got my weight to where it is. And it's not a 1 year program.
Right.
This is my 9th year of doing
Wow.
the same thing. So it takes a long time.
There
Sometimes
was a study that said I think 75% of children who are obese have obese parents. So they were trying to say basically that the environment makes a difference.
it does.
So if
it
your
does.
parents eat unhealthy, most likely the children will eat unhealthy. So it's a big. I think talking to the parents is as important as talking to the children.
It is. It really
you
is
know.
because you influence. I always say that the fingerprints that you leave on your children cannot be erased. It's very important, and I still think back to my grandmother, and she always said 2 things. You have to keep God, and in fact, when she passed away, I was the one that was lucky. I feel, because her prized possessions were partitioned, amongst us, or at least I got something, and it was given to me her little church book, and I could
Oh,
open it and see where she tithed. She paid her tithes, and
wow.
she recorded it. That was long ago, and that was long ago, and
Wow.
that's how much she believed
That's such a
in
blessing.
tithing. She believed in making sure these girls,
Wow.
and I said and I was a teenager, like a regular teenager. I'm like,
Right.
what is she talking about all the time? Go,
Keep God.
keep God, God, God all the time. God, every day. This woman once a year. No, she's gonna start talking about it again. Keep God, but it made an impact, and I still
Hmm.
remember till date.
Wow. So
And I,
she was an influencer. Who else
yes,
influenced you growing
yes.
up?
Growing up,
Oh,
the
in
next
medical practice.
I had several influences. My grandmother was the most important. I
Mm,
mean, the most important was my grandmother.
wow.
And then my parents, my mom and my dad. My mom had a different effect.
Mm.
My dad had a different effect. Both were lasting. And I'm writing a book right now. I'm working on the book.
Oh, he was an
It's He was an
educationist.
educationist. It's
Okay.
called The Father's Covenant,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
all the lessons that an African parent instilled in his daughter before he passed
Wow.
away.
Wow.
I think it's
Were you
very.
the only daughter?
No,
Oh, okay.
he had two girls.
Okay, okay.
My little sister came 12 years after I
You
did.
said that,
And the
right.
rest of us came in a cluster.
So she's a
Four of
young,
us in five
she's
or
still
six
in
years.
Cameroon.
No, she's here. She's also a physician
Oh,
in
really?
Texas. She
Oh,
lives in Texas.
she went to
Um,
medical school here.
she went to medical school in Texas, and she did most of her studies in
So three
Texas.
of you became medical doctors.
Two of us,
Okay.
two girls.
Your brother, I thought he was in medical school.
No,
No, he didn't. Okay.
my brother passed away. The one who was in
Okay.
medical school passed away.
Okay. In the
So,
middle of medical school, or
yeah.
before he graduated.
Well, he didn't finish school. He
Okay.
passed away.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
powerful.
And my dad, the biggest lesson he taught me
Mm,
all my life is you can be whatever you want to be.
wow.
And whenever I talk to him, and sometimes I'd play around and you get discouraged and
Mm,
different things, and he'll look at me and he'll say, "Great girl,
mm,
you are going to be a great girl. You're going to be a great
wow.
woman." And before he also passed away, he said one of the things that he was so fixed on when I was in medical school and when I graduated is I'm going to go back home and make an impact.
Impact.
He said, "These people here, they need you. You have to come back."
Hmm.
These are very remote areas in Africa
Yeah.
where he was born and his tribe. And these people, they fall into the bracket of poverty,
Right.
where um, the the World Health Organization classifies poor people
Right.
as those who survive with less than
A
families
dollar a
that
day
survive with less than $1 a day.
yeah,
Families.
per
So these are
capita.
very poor people, and I was
Hmm.
so blessed. In my father's memory, I was able to start the Oma Yembe Foundation,
Was he
and
an educationist, your
he was an
dad?
educationist in Cameroon
Okay.
before
Like
he passed
principal
away.
or more
He
of a
was
government
more of
employee?
a government employee. He's
Mm,
been a principal of a school, a government employee, and things like that. But I was able to go back to Africa, to this place, the people who are poor, and we started the foundation.
I
And
saw
I went,
that.
I took mission trips back. We
Wow.
had, before the political problem now in Cameroon, but we had up to 200 children in school.
That you were
I,
sponsoring.
Yes. I mean, it's
Wow.
just maybe $10, $20 to put a child through school for a
Hmm.
year. So we had 200 of those in school. I remember one day, and this is to tell anyone listening, we sit here and we can say, I just can't. Like, how am I going to even succeed? Or who am I even going to be tomorrow? I remember going back to the village, this remote place where I felt these kids need to go to school so they could even have hope in becoming somebody tomorrow. Because without education, there could be no hope.
Hmm.
And I remember I went back there for a mission trip, and we had over 2,000 people came for the
Hmm.
medical care. That was striking to me
Wow.
because I felt these people didn't even know what medical care was.
Hmm.
And all the children who had been in school, they came to sing me a song.
Oh.
And I remember sitting on the ledge of big stone, and this child next to me caught my attention. And I said, hey. And she was like, kind of a little shy. And I said, well, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Oh, like your grandmother told you.
And she said, I want to become an accountant. I
Okay.
said, what? An accountant? I'm looking at this child in the village.
Oh, wow.
And I said, do you know what an accountant is? She said, yes.
Oh,
And
wow.
she proceeded to tell me.
Oh.
And I said, how do you know these things? She said, when she's in the market and her mother is selling goods, they take the goods and they wrap it up in newspapers and they hand it. She said, all these papers. She has been reading these papers.
They're accounting papers.
And she figured out through reading those papers that I don't even know from what year and how this
Wow.
child has been able to discover,
So just reading has
just reading,
changed
the power of
her
reading. And that's
vision.
another I could get
Wow.
long-winded on that. The power of reading. And
Wow.
to tell you that this child in a remote village in Africa, and I told myself, I'm going to make sure this child is able to
Goes
have an
through
education
school.
so she can fulfill her dreams. She's not a nobody's
Mm-hmm.
statistic. She has goals and dreams. To become an accountant, children would say police, doctor, those are common. But
Right.
accountant is very
Very
specific.
specific.
For a child in Africa who's living in a village, there is no accounting of anything up there. Forget it. These are farmers. So, I mean, isn't that impressive?
It is.
How God is? I mean, He would instill in this little child,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a dream to become an accountant tomorrow.
While we're talking about Cameroon, there's currently a lot of media splash on Cameroon concerning the attrition or the political strife. How can we, the church, because I know a lot of my colleagues in the church in America are watching this show, how can the church assist the people of Cameroon who are in the middle of this political strife and log jam that seems not, I mean, there's an election coming up, but there's still a lot of bedlam and chaos in the community.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very, very worrisome. It's very also very difficult to know where to extend your help because you want to make a difference and you want it to actually have an impact. For example, if you extend help, the help that you extended, you actually want it to get to its goal and do what it's supposed to do. I think that the only thing you can do now maybe is link up with some organization that is already helping in some form. I
Right.
can't speak on anything political because just like insurance is here,
You're not a
I
politician.
just don't know. I don't know what is going on. I don't know how to
Wow.
classify it. But I know it's disturbing because, for example, the Yembe Foundation, we had a little clinic up there. We had even gone through our certification and process and what we needed to do to even start to deliver babies. We had gone through that process of what the government or the healthcare system requires a small facility like this to become or to have or the requirements to be able to deliver babies. We actually had 2 live births in the hospital before all the political problems started,
Chaos
and we
came.
had to close down a little hospital that we had going. And then the school fees, the scholarship was also put on hold
Oh.
because the schools closed and
Oh,
children not going
wow.
to school. So it's really
For
sad.
almost a year now.
Yes, it's
Wow.
sad. I mean, I don't, and we also we would love to help, but we just don't know how
And you have
because
people on both sides, so it's hard for
the
you to
only
even
way
be
we were
partisan.
helping is no longer functional per se
Right.
in that country.
Give
So
us a little snapshot. Your brothers, I know your mom is in Dallas with your sister. Am I correct?
yes, she's a
Okay.
physician also, and also an entrepreneur.
Oh, okay. Then your 3 brothers alive, your 2 brothers alive.
I
Okay.
have one brother alive, but
Okay.
2 of them passed away.
Okay, so you are 4. Oh, 2 passed away.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
sorry. Okay.
yes.
The one alive, where is he?
Also in Texas. Something about
Okay.
my family in Texas.
What does he do?
I'm Louisiana. He is more in the oil industry.
Okay,
So he
okay.
does that. He's more in the oil industry.
Wow, wow. Well, tell my audience in this last minute of the show when you're going to talk to them, you've talked a lot about family values and where you came from, and there's a young girl out there watching who does not see the feasibility of her ever becoming a physician. She wants to be a physician. She's dreamt of it, but she looks at she feels the cards are stacked against her. The enormous amount to go to medical school is unrealistic. She doesn't see the possibility. I want you to speak to her and tell her why she can't pursue her dream without any equivocation, and why God can make happen even those dreams that look impossible.
Yes. To anyone out there, especially the young girl, what I want you to understand is that everything is possible if you put your heart and your mind into it and stay focused. And I'm going to read you my favorite Bible verse here, Romans 12:2.
Oh, okay.
From the New International Version. It says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will." So if you believe that it is God's will that you want to be a physician or you want to pursue your goals and your dreams, one of the things that limit us is that we get conformed by the world. We start to delve into different things, social media and other things that fraction our focus, so we're no longer focused on our goals, and make us believe less in ourselves and in the power of God to achieve what you want to achieve. I never had that problem, even though I may not have been the Christian then that I am today. But one thing that I was focused and I was determined. And I never spent time focusing on what could limit me. But I spent time focusing on how and what I needed to do to get there. Very important. I remind myself of that even today. We cannot change the world.
That's right.
We can only control ourselves. It starts with your thoughts, and it starts with what you allow to get into your mind.
So the possibility mentality.
Yes.
Don't stop thinking poverty. Start thinking wealth. Stop thinking failure. Start thinking success.
Yes.
As a man
you
thinks
are able.
in his heart, so
So
is
is
he.
he.
So most people
Exactly.
end up failure because that's all they heard and thought and sat on, you know. But you are a success going somewhere to happen. And when that success happens, let us know. Write to us, P.O. Box 550 71294, West Monroe, Louisiana. We want to hear from you. Go to www.faithandpower.online. This is Dr. Yembe and Dr. Tobe Moma telling you Jesus is Lord. All your dreams can come to pass.
Amen.
Don't quit. Don't cave in. Don't fail because God is on your side.
Yes.
Jesus loves you. God bless you.